Hello, you just caught me walking up to my auntie's house. And my auntie's house is the longest living building in my life. She's lived here since about 1974. So, yeah, about that, 74, 75. And I'm going to try to go for a little walk around today. Walking back to just show you how close my family was to me in distance and obviously in heart. But I shall, hopefully, if it doesn't rain, because it is spitting, I shall show you more a little bit later. Here it is. This is it. Here it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, here I are in the cul-de-sac of my childhood. That was probably more influential than any other time, because that was my bedroom. This is the bungalow there. This extension was built by Mum, Dad and Mum, and also the garage. But we used to have some brilliant times in here. We weren't allowed past there, but this is where we actually completely had my main childhood in actual in Bewdley. Now, the thing is, what you had right next to us was this view here. There's the farmhouse, and that was the farm. And we used to come down out the cul-de-sac, as you can still do, and you just get onto the lane, as I'm showing you now. And there you are, you onto the lanes of Bewdley, and across there, over that fair hedge, is the Wild Forest. So this was the environment I grew up in. Neil Pones used to live there. Yes, so here's Dad there, they're on. Yeah, I'm going to go back up here. So yeah, so I'm going to walk you now along the lanes. I set to music. Yeah, David Tilly, my second cousin, used to live there as well. I think he bought it out off the Pones, if I remember rightly. So yeah, so we spent a lot of time over in the farm. This was right there, in the orchard, and playing. I had my first drive of a car in a field. I'll show you in a minute. And so again, I love the smell of manure, and the reason why I love the smell of manure is because of the farm, really, because that was the smell that was just there all the time. And it just they really, I think the mum and dad, it was a proper farm, but they'd slowed down a lot on it, hadn't they? So yeah, so over here, this gate wasn't here, but this field here is actually the field that I first drove a car along here, a little Mini. I think it was an orange one. So, but you can see just over in the distance there, you can see the Wild Forest. There we go. It's over there, and it wraps all around the lane down to the river. And you can see it there. Oh, so, yeah. Oh, yeah. So yes, this is where my first driving experience. And this hedge here, it was the house on there, because we had a really quite big garden, didn't we? Really long garden. In fact, I remember Dad buried a load of what they call lion syrup cans into the garden, and we had a golf course. And the kids, all the local kids, used to actually come and actually line up to play the game. Yeah, that was the end of it. But I used to play one game where I used to throw half bricks over the hedge, and I used to enjoy the noise it made as it hit the actual the floor. And this one time I did it, unfortunately I didn't hear the floor being hit, I heard a crunch, and it was somebody's head. It was David Powell, I think. No, it was David Oram, poor lad, hit him on the head for a brick. But yeah, so basically, as you're walking along here now, this is how close my childhood was to my grandma. And my mum and dad moved in 1970. I was for about 40 days old, and if I remember rightly, I think Grandma and Auntie moved about 6 months afterwards, or were they before us? Or? Yeah, about 6 months later they moved into Bewdley, and for 5 years, this was my walk down the lane to my grandma's, and she lived there from 1970 to the day she died was 2000 and what was it? That's hard to work out. 207. So from 1970 to
1914.
to live there from 1970 to 2014. But this I've just been talking about you. This is I'll turn off, but yeah, the person who I used to actually muck about in the fields with is actually here. Yeah, so that's a funny one. That was actually the son of the farmers, and who we used to go and muck about with. So yeah, so anyway, so just round this corner, we used to come down this little alleyway down here. So what? How many steps do you reckon, Dad? 50 yards to here. So let's say 100 yards away from where we had the house where we lived in Bewdley. We used to come down here, and just down here. We walk around here. We could go the cul-de-sac way, the roadway as well, but then the laneway was a lot better. And I won't go too far close to it because it's obviously no longer grandma's, but this is my grandma's house, just here, number 32. That was my grandma's house, just there. But when we first moved to Bewdley, we lived there. Number 50, I just got home in, we used to live at number 53, was it, Dad?
53, yeah.
Number 53, so that's where we lived. My grandma lived here, and my auntie. We're going to go back along the lane, Dad. No, I've just zoomed in on there. So that was the house we lived in, we lived there about 4 years?
5.
5 years, we lived 5 years there. Then we moved to Rosemonts, that's over on the other side. You can see this over there, the hill and so forth. We lived just that way, as a crow flies, just a couple of 100 yards. And then we moved to Bamley Way, we've just seen. Then we carry on here. But then my auntie got married in 74, 75? 74. And then we then had to, unfortunately, go past Grandma's turn off. And then we'd have to carry along the lane to Auntie's. And thinking about it, how long far? I would say 200 yards probably, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. But then so we're back on the lane again now, and we walk along the lane. So hopefully, guys, you people from Bude and people who don't know me, but only know me from living in Bude and my accent, you can see that actually the colour green played a very big part in my childhood, because that's all really I could see. And the smells of hedgerows and sounds of birds and animals and farm smells was a daily occurrence. Because you'll see on this vlog as well a little bit of Mamble, where I also lived. That was when I say my home, that was the one I class as my home, really. I know Dad did as well, really. Cross House, that's the one that my biggest memories are formed there. But we also then lived even more in the sticks, where it was a house with just another house on our own, and that was lovely as well. But so yeah, so I carry on with the lane now. I said I was going to take this to Ms, but I wouldn't be out, I don't think, so I've just been waffling on. So good, well done if you got so far and still here. So this is a new house, what I'm looking at now. Those houses weren't there. I don't know how old those are, Dad. I haven't seen those before. I didn't see them on the way there.
20 years, 25 years.
25 years?
Oh yeah.
Really, these?
Yeah.
Well, they must have knocked the hedge down then.
Yeah, these
Yeah, because I can't remember looking at them.
well, they've got to be 20 years old.
But that's Tanner's Hill down there. And that was it's a bugger hill now even. But I wouldn't say, Dad was never a drinker, but we had the local pub. Now one thing about Bewdley is it's even now, it's probably got more pubs at the moment now, but 22 pubs, believe it or not, in a town smaller than Bude. But our local pub, where we used to come and have a bottle of pop and a bag of crisps, is a hot pole.
Now you can see the
Institute.
The white coat pub.
Yeah, I'll see if I can see. This is a hot pole here. And we used to sit out. There used to be like a rain shelter here, where families sat out, and we used to sit out in the front of the pub. And there used to be a tree that ran along here, and we used to climb the tree and so forth. So that's actually a thing. But my first place where I bought a pint is, I'll just have to see if I can home in on it. It was the Wire Court. I haven't got my glasses on, so I don't. Yeah, that's it. Just past the sign. There we are, just there. That there was the wire court, and it was an institute, like a what are they called, Dad?
Country club it was.
Sorry?
Wycourt Country Club.
It was a country club, and that's where I had my first pint. Strange little story, really, because there's a hot pole, a bit more better shot of the hot pole. That was my local pub. Well, the local pub to us as a family. But the institute, the wire court, we used to go down into the basement and play pool. It's 20p for a game of pool. And as we was walking out one day, the owner, what was his name again, Dad? Roger Van Jept or something like that. He actually said, "Hey, I've had enough of you lot coming here, spending 20p on a game of pool. I want you to buy a proper drink." So I looked on the actual the board, and it said, the first thing said a splash, 2p. So I said, "I'll have a splash, please." "Here's a splash, you bloody idiot." And he poured a little tiny bit of lemonade at the bottom of the glass. He goes, "That's a splash, order a proper drink." So I said, "Just crossing the road, better cross it quick." He said, "I'll order a proper drink." So I had a Banks's mild. I was 14 at the time. I started then drinking quite regularly there every week. So anyway, we've just crossed away from the hot pole. There's our pole. Just crossed down the lanes, and now we're coming down to the actual into the estate. And this it actually looks a little bit run down now. It's got all the hedges have been trimmed back. They look nicer soon, but you can see the roots have cracked the paths. But this was the little pathway that we walked up to go to Auntie's. And I think all the memories I've got of actually this route along here, because I actually did it. We moved up to Mamble when I was 12. So for the first 12 years of my life, this was my connection. Of course, it was a time at my age. You could still go. We still went down into Bewdley, and there was the butcher, the baker. You had the grocers, vegetable shop, and it was all there. And I can remember doing it and walking back up with Mum with baskets of food, and there was always Peter or John in a pram, so we didn't have to carry too much. Sometimes we used to go up a different route, go up the racks, the steps. I'll take them down there one day. So anyway, this is the route that was my life for 12 years. And the family, so of course my dad's family, they still stayed in Wolverhampton, and we would see them on regular occasions, and they were around us as well. So a lovely childhood, a lovely place really. So there you are, you see. I had no threat of being shot or stabbed. I wasn't in a concrete jungle. I was in a lovely country town called Bewdley, or in villages called Mamble. So we're just walking up here onto the estate. Here it is, and just up here is Auntie's house. I said she's lived there for nearly all my life, and it's the one constant left of my childhood. And of course, when it's her 80th birthday today, that's why we're here. Of course, when she goes, it'll just be James and Sarah, and how long they'll last together, I don't know. So, and funny enough now, Josh, my nephew, just lives in this house here. And it's funny how life and fate interweaves in each other, doesn't it? So, here we go. Auntie's house. Again, because I started this in the start of the vlog. But Auntie's house. That's how far, and this is not edited, so you can see how long it takes to actually get from my home, my grandma's home, and my auntie's home. We're now leaving now, ladies and gentlemen. We're leaving now. We're leaving the party early. They're still eating their food. They're all going to say goodbye. Say goodbye, I won't show anybody. Bye. Bye. So off now, 4 hours. We'll give you 3 pips. See you later. Bye. One sec, we're locked in.
Oh yes, because
Yeah, so there, they locked us in. So Auntie does this. They've taken the keys. This is for the little ones. The little ones try to escape.
don't video this. Mum will be up.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. See you, Mum. Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah. See you soon. Bye. Bye, everybody. We're still filming. Bye.
Park down the bottom because we know there'll be lots of cars parked. So
Right. Anyway, I'm going to do a weigh-in tomorrow, and I'll tell you all about it. Bye. Well, we're home. It's the morning. We had a lovely 4 days. So lovely seeing Mum and Dad and Pat and going out having Chinese and seeing everybody. Having the aunties at a party really took me back to being back there, back at Beardley and back in Manbull and Clippery. It was lovely. So my prediction was 16.5 stone, so half a stone of damage for my trip away, and then back to normal today. So let's see if I did it. Slightly off. Let's just I should have done this before, shouldn't I? There we go. So am I going to be 16.5 stone? There we go. The good news is it's 16.5 stone. So the damage of just eating what I like and drinking what I like for 4 days is obviously not as bad, because you just look what happens tomorrow after a day of fasting. Okay, so I'll see you then. So I am waffling now, so it is time to say goodbye.